What's up, guys? Today I'm hanging out with Mr. Joe Cunningham, and we're talking about Technical Arts Center. And what they provide is sales training for HVAC and plumbers. So, Mr. Joe, can you tell us a little bit about your program? How does it work for the guys that are doing HVAC and plumbing? Other than the cost, like what would they get?
Okay, well, thanks for letting me join you today, Tony. We have actually two segments of both of our classes. We have number one, the technical training, which is where we take an entry-level HVAC guy or an entry-level plumbing guy, and we have a 10-day, what we call a fast track program. They come to our place starting at zero, and at the end of 10 days, they are an advanced entry-level maintenance person on the HVAC side, or an advanced level apprentice level person, or a maintenance entry-level person on the plumbing side. So we cover both technical and non-technical. For the guys that are in the business already and you're out running calls, we have another group of programs that we run through my company called the Success Track Network. Those are our sales programs where we teach a technician how to run a call on the perfect service call. From the time you leave the office to how you approach the customer when you get there, how you introduce what you're going to do, how to get this customer to ask you to inspect every part of his HVAC or plumbing system. So we're not trying to sell him something. We're working with this customer to get him to ask us to inspect his entire system. And because we've done the technical side, we know the steps that need to be taken. So we start with introducing ourselves to the customer, getting the customer to tell us all their plumbing or HVAC issues. We write those down, we confirm them with the customer, and we get the customer to ask us to look at everything. The technician, whether he's a plumber, whether he's an HVAC guy, then proceeds with the call, and he makes a detailed list of everything that's wrong with the entire system. Now, that's kind of unusual, especially on the plumbing side, because the customer will call you to come out and say, hey, Tony, send me a plumber out here. My toilet stopped up. Tony, send me a plumber out here. My valve in the shower in the hall bathroom is leaking. Or send me an HVAC guy out here because we don't have any cooling. Well, the HVAC guy has a little bit more latitude because the customer understands they've got more than one part. But the plumber, he has a less of an ability on his own to expand his call past the toilet that's stopped up or the shower valve that's leaking, because the customer is going to wonder sometimes, why is this guy going into my kitchen? He's supposed to be working in my bathroom. So in our system, we have things that we teach you to say and things that we teach you to show and things that we teach you to do to get this customer to ask you to look at everything in the house and give him a detailed list of every single thing you find wrong. Sit down and share it with him at the table. And the end result is this, Tony: 50% of the customers will buy a minimum of 1 to 2 more items that they should legitimately have fixed. And that drives your average ticket up. It also drives your callback ratio down, because as a plumber or an HVAC tech, once you touch the system, you own it. And I know the guys out there who have been running plumbing companies know that they'll send a guy out there to fix the toilet, and he works on the toilet, and 2 days later, the customer calls up and says, hey, I don't know what the heck your guy did, but he was working on my toilet, and now I got a leak under the kitchen sink. Well, the truth of the matter is they had the leak under the kitchen sink when he was there, but nobody looks under the kitchen sink every day. And the plumber is so focused on getting the toilet fixed or the shower valve replaced or whatever he went to that he does not do an inspection. And a couple things happen when you don't do a thorough inspection. Number one, you're doing a customer a disservice. They called you to look at their plumbing, not just their toilet. They think they want you to just look at the toilet. But if you were really to ask them, we know there's other leaks in your house, and I'm going to ignore them today so you can pay me extra to come back next week. Would that be okay with you? The customer would say no. when the truth of the matter is, if I say the right thing, I'm going to check your entire plumbing system. I'll be looking for anything that could cause water damage or unsafe conditions. If I find anything, would you like me to make a list and share it with you? Or just go ahead and fix it. The customer is going to say, don't do anything till I see the list. And now the plumber is obligated to make that list. And the plumber then says, great, while I'm doing that, I'll also tag all your cutoff valves for you. That way, in case you have an emergency, you'll know exactly what to cut off before any damage occurs, okay? 95% of the customers say, okay. So now what did this customer just ask me to do? He asked me to look under every plumbing fixture in the house. So if we take your average customer out there today, they've got 2 bathrooms. One will have a double bowl vanity. So he's got 5 stops in there, 3 stops in the other one. He's got a utility room. He's got a kitchen. He's got a water heater. He's got hose bibs. He has stops everywhere. And he just asked you to look under there. And while I'm looking at the stops, I have to check the drains. I have to check everything. And it's the proper training of a technician that leads the technician to say this on the non-technical side. And then our technical side trains him to actually do the work. So our training classes, being 2 parts, technical and non-technical, cover it for everyone. I've been doing training in the HVAC and plumbing business now for over 30 years. I have extremely large companies that I work with and some little companies that I work with as well. We do some of the sales programs online. I'm getting ready to do a call maximization program starting this week. The management classes will be Monday and Wednesday, and then the technician programs are the day after that. And I break the programs up so we do them early in the morning, depending on where you live. We do a 7 o'clock broadcast for the East Coast guys. We do a 7 o'clock broadcast for the West Coast guys. And then we come back the next day and do a 7 o'clock broadcast for the Central guys. So we cover everybody. The training for the running of the call is 2 hours long. So you only miss 2 hours out of the field and you go and you're ready to produce in the field. And it's the easiest process that I've ever seen. If anybody ever was to look me up on the internet and just Google my name, Joe Cunningham and air conditioning, they'll find out exactly what I do. I have trained more HVAC techs and entry-level plumbers than anyone in the world. I've been in more HVAC companies than anybody else in the world. And I have companies and organizations that have now used me for over 24 years. I've been to their place once a year, every year, except for the 2 COVID years. So that tells you one thing, this stuff works. And it works with every level of company and every level of technician out there.
I love it. I love all the history. This reminds me of, because there's not very much competition in what you do. You know, it's not like it's beer and there's just a million of them now, right? You're very special. And so I appreciate it. How is this different from somebody like maybe Mr. Joe Crisera? Do you know who that is?
Oh, I know Joe Crisera very well. And
Okay,
Joe
so-
does a good job. Joe does
Yeah.
a really good job. I can't say anything bad about Joe whatsoever. He's a nice guy.
Right.
My program is different in that everything I do is systemized and easy to do. You know, from saying the right things, get the verification from the customer, and having the customer put in a position where he's asking you to buy rather than you asking or than you trying to sell him something. You know, if you have ever been through any of my training, you'll find out that the technician on the call does not sell. He just puts the customer in a position where they say, can you do this for me? And it all comes from, number one, finding the issues. You know, I learned a long time ago because I always thought there were really neat things in the plumbing business and really neat things in the HVAC business. And all I'd have to do is say something about them and people would love to have it. Well, that's not true. See, people only buy a solution to a problem they know they have. So number one, you have to get the customer to allow you to look to see if they have any problems. And then you can talk about it. And it all starts with that statement. I'm going to check your system now. Now, I didn't say I'm going to check your toilet, or I'm going to check your shower, or I'm going to check your furnace, or I'm going to check your condenser. I said, I'm going to check your system. Now, that's something unusual for a homeowner to hear because they're usually one task people. In fact, in the air conditioning business, when you show up and knock on the door, the customer says, oh, you're here to look at my air conditioner? Let me show you where it is. It's out here in the backyard, because they think the condenser is the whole thing. They'll never ask you in the summer to look at the furnace because they think that makes their house hot. They don't understand that there's a blower in there that works both seasons. It's the same thing with the plumbing. Why isn't the guy with a stopped up toilet asking you to check his water pressure in his house to see if he needs a PRB, so all the warranties on every fixture in the house aren't voided, and it might knock his homeowner insurance out because his house is overpressurized? Why didn't he ask you that? Well, he didn't know. And how many plumbers are going out there and checking water pressure on every call? And why didn't the guy that wanted you to fix his shower valve, why didn't he say, Tony, take a peek under the kitchen sink? You know, he's not going to find the leak under the kitchen sink till he opens up the door and looks in there, and the soap box that used to be 1.5 inches thick is now 3 inches thick, and the whole bottom of the cabinet is washed away. So that's when he finds it. And that's the difference in our call. We set it up so the customer asks you to look at everything. And now, since the customer has requested the list, it's much different. Years ago, we used to tell a technician, go into the house and make a list and take it back to the customer. Well, when you take a list back to the customer and he never asks for it, he thinks you're trying to sell him something. But now when he says, don't do anything until I see the list, he asks for the list, which completely changes everything. Then we go back and we show him what the problem was. Then when he sees the problem, he will ask you if there's a solution for it, which now gives you an opportunity to make your presentation and offer him options. And it works so much better when we're not selling. We're just providing solutions. And a lot of the guys get really worried about pricing. You know, they'll work for a plumbing company or HVAC company that's higher priced than the rest of the competitors. But here's one thing about customers. Pricing is only important when that's all they understand. You know, and nobody ever buys anything that they really like that they think costs too much. If you really think you like it, it never costs too much. You justify why you bought what you did. And then you ask a plumber, you know, did you ever buy anything that you really liked that you think costs too much? No, man, I needed this, I needed that. And then I ask him this, does your wife buy a lot of stuff that seems to cost too much? Well, hell yeah, I don't know why she buys all those shoes. Well, he didn't want new high heels. That's why he thought they cost too much, but she didn't. So you've got to create that situation where, number one, you find the problems and then help him understand that he needs them. And after he sees that he needs them, then he wants them. And then he'll justify in his own mind that the price that you're offering far exceeds the value that that's going to do. And it all starts with setting the call up correctly. And that's what a lot of people don't teach, the setup. You know, everything begins with the warm-up. The best ball players in the world will never strike out a single batter if they don't wind up correctly, because they can't deliver a fastball standing there. Everything is in the preparation of getting ready to run that call, preparation of what you're going to say to the customer, preparation of the tasks you're going to perform to do the inspection, preparation of having the right documents and diagrams to show the customer, here's what's wrong with your whatever it is, here's how it should work, this is why it's not working, this is what we have to do to make it work, this is what will happen if we don't. It all takes preparation. And that's the difference between my programs and most of the others. You don't need to trick anybody into buying anything. You don't need to talk them into it. All you got to do is explain why they should have it. And all the other issues that everybody has just go away.
Awesome, Mr. Joe. And if somebody did want to go ahead and, consider signing up to your program for HVAC and plumbing sales training, how could they go about it?
Well, the best thing for them to do is to contact me and tell me what they want. I do random online programs during the year. When I have a group of plumbers that want to do it, or a group of HVAC clients that want to do it, or if they're a Service Roundtable or Service Nation member, then I do classes for them. Their classes are largely travel to that class. So for those classes, we do those in Dallas. My online classes, I do those for a lot of individual companies. And then about 4 times a year, I send out marketing and I tell people when we're doing it. So if you're a plumber or HVAC guy and you want to know how to sell this stuff, all you have to do is send me an email and say, hey, when's your next training? And like I said, we break the training down so it's easy if you're going to do it online. I break it down over several days. We do it early in the morning. So you're in the shop. We do 2 hours, then you go out and you use it. Then you come in the next day, we do a little review. You go out and you do it. And by the time we do that process for 2 days, you don't get bored with watching it on the internet. You get to go out and experience those successes. Then if you have some questions, and you can be online with me and say, hey, Joe, when I said this to a customer, this is what happened. We can help you with that. And that's why we have such a high degree of success with all of our attendees. So if they'd
Cool.
like to contact me, my number is on the screen. Excuse me. It's on the screen. That's my cell phone number. I put that on there so you don't have a problem getting with me. 318-286-7742. I don't hide behind the voicemail. If you call me, I'm going to pick up. If I don't pick up, that means I'm in an area where I have really bad connection. Or you can email me at joe9152@verizon.net. That's joe9152@verizon.net. Or you can just go in the Technical Arts Center and fill that out, and I will get right back to you just as soon as I can. But we'd love to see every one of you that are attending this podcast come to our training, whether it's online or in person, and we'd love to be able to help you make more money in the industry.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cunningham. I appreciate your time, sir. And again, I highly recommend him. I've known Joe for I think it's been 3 years now or something like that.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's
right.
It's been a while. So, he's a good guy, and I can vouch for him. And that's why I wanted to share his expertise with my audience. And so if you're interested in getting some HVAC and plumbing sales training, hit up Joe. And you know how to get a hold of him. He's all over Facebook as well. I will see you guys on the next one. Have a great day.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.